Welcome to the fourth session of the YouTube Annihilator series. In this video, we're going to talk about creating your first Google AdWords campaign. We're going to start by clicking the Create Your First Campaign button. Now on this screen, we're going to have some choices of what type of ad we want to do. We can do search and display networks, search network only, display network, or online video. Right now we're going to do the online video since we're focusing on the video marketing portion of the Google AdWords. First thing we're going to do is pick a campaign name. Now you don't want to use something super generic. You want to make sure that it's something recognizable so that when you have multiple campaigns running, you'll know what it is. So something like new campaign, not going to be a very good name. You want to do something like newest gizmo launch. That way you know exactly what this campaign is referring to. Next thing we're going to do is set the budget. This is going to be whatever budget you don't want to exceed per day. So whether it's $5 per day, $10 per day, $25 per day, that's up to you. After that, we're going to set the delivery method. You have two different choices here. You have standard and accelerated. Standard is just going to evenly show them over the course of the day, which is pretty much the recommended way to go. The other direction is to use the accelerated route, which will show the ads as fast as humanly possible to as many people as you can. The downside about this is if you start the campaigns for 24 hours, then you could lose all of your budget before 3 o'clock in the morning, and then nobody's going to see your ad throughout the day. That's the risk you run. So for most people, most campaigns, we recommend using the standard layout unless you have a very specific reason for wanting it to get out as quickly as possible. Now we're going to go down to locations and languages. Go ahead and hit Advanced Search, and then here we're going to put in a specific location. There's many different ways to set your location. You can do it by zip code, by city, by surrounding areas, or even by radius. So if you have a traditional brick and mortar location and you only service a very particular area, the radius targeting is very helpful. You put in your address, hit radius targeting, and lay out exactly how far you would traditionally service. And that way it'll target anybody within that geographic location. If you're in nationwide or you're only in certain markets, that's another thing you can do. They don't have to be adjacent. They could be some in one state, some in another state, some in the north of a state, some in the south. Doesn't matter. You can pretty much target whatever geographic location you want right from this screen. If you find that you've accidentally clicked something, you can hit remove at any time to take it out of the list, and you can also hit nearby to bring up a list of what is nearby a specific area. Once we're done with that, just hit done, and we're going to move on to the next step, selecting the languages. If you're going to be setting up your ad to target specific languages, like say Spanish speakers, then you would want to select that here and make sure that when you do your ads, they are Spanish speaking friendly. It wouldn't make a lot of sense to publish a bunch of English speaking ads to a Spanish speaking audience. So you want to be very careful with that. By the same token, if you have a set of very specific ads to one exact language, this is a great way for you to get that out just to these people. So now we're going to move on to the scheduling. You'll find that under Advanced Options. You can set a start date and end date. So if you have a very specific short-term promotion, that's when it's great to set an end date. Also, if you have a ad that's going to be requiring people to call in, or you really want to be there at the time these people are taking action on your ads, then you'll want to set the time periods for running the ads when you will have somebody by the phone or your business hours will actually be open. If it's something like an online purchase, that isn't going to matter. For ad delivery and frequency capping, you can optimize for views, optimize for conversions, or rotate evenly. And basically this is going to favor the different ads based on how they're performing and how users react to them. Frequency capping is going to allow you to limit the amount of times each unique user sees your ad as an impression. You can set any amount of impressions you'd like over any given time frame. That way, each person isn't subjected to your ad too many times. For most campaigns, that's not really a good idea. If you have a smaller audience, you kind of want them to get as many impressions as possible. That way you increase the likelihood of getting an action on that ad. A lot of times people will get impressions and not really notice or pay attention to the ad at that moment, but they may at a different time. So it's usually best to just leave that at no cap on impressions, unless you have a specific reason why you're not going to do that. The last piece of the puzzle is device targeting. You can break down your ads by what type of device you want to target. If you want it to be mobile only, desktop only, that's something you're going to have to decide based on the product that you're selling. It's usually a good idea. If you don't know or you don't have a specific target in mind, just leave it to all available devices. That way, no matter what device users are using, they have a chance to see your ad and take action on that and hopefully become a customer. Once you've got all your settings in place, hit save and continue and move on to the audience targeting section. I'm not going to talk about that in this video. We're going to save that for another section of the YouTube Annihilator.